Welcome to Did You Know number 20. Lana's got 2 facts that she's going to give, and then I'll have 2, and then we'll get to our answer and question.
Alright, I promise eventually we will be out of Deuteronomy.
That's what you said about numbers.
But hey, we got through it.
That's true.
Hey, there we go. Alright, Deuteronomy 19. Deuteronomy chapter 19, verse 21.
Deuteronomy 19:21. And thine eye shall not pity, but life shall go for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot.
I wrote, you notice usually when people mention this verse, they always just say eye for eye and tooth for tooth. But they never mention life for life. Only the eye for eye and tooth for tooth. Because if you think about it, life for life, well, you know, people may actually be kinder and, you know, respectful and decent and not steal from people if they knew that you had, you know, God's given you the authority. Well, you purposely broke into my house to steal stuff and killed a family member, so guess what? I get to kill you. There would be no jail time. There'd be no jails. No prisons. I think people would be a little more respectful of each other, but no, they only say eye for eye, tooth for tooth.
Yeah, God was really big on capital punishment, and He gave that authority to government. You know, that's the first thing when God established the government, the first law He gave after Noah came out of the ark. He said in Genesis 9:6, whoso sheddeth man's blood, by man shall his blood be shed. And that was the first national rule you see in the Bible, but man wants to get rid of that because that's cruel.
Yeah. All right, Deuteronomy chapter 22.
Deuteronomy 22.
Deuteronomy 22, verse 5.
22:5. The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, neither shall a man put on a woman's garment, for all that do so are abomination unto the Lord thy God.
Eric and I were talking about this, and I wrote women, you know, wearing men's clothing and vice versa. And I wrote, well, you know, I kind of like wearing pants. And I mean, I wear shorts and stuff, but pants, because being a woman, sometimes you just don't want to shave your legs. You just don't want to shave them. You know, either, you know, you're too busy, don't have time, and it's easier to throw a pair of pants on and still look decent and, you know, go wherever you got to go. But Eric brought up that really
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. It's not saying that women can't wear pants. It's just you're trying to purposely look like the opposite sex. That's what's prohibited here. Because when you think about it, back in late 1700s, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, those guys, they wore wigs and they wore stockings. I mean, today, wearing stockings would be wearing women's clothing. But 220 years ago, wearing stockings was man's clothing. So it's not saying certain articles of clothing are prohibited. It's just saying that if you, as a woman, try to look like a man, or a man tries to look like a woman, that's what's an abomination unto the Lord.
That's my 2.
All right, well, the 2 I have then, we're going to look at 1 Samuel 17. 1 Samuel 17 is a story of David killing Goliath. And I heard that as a child, and pretty much anybody who studied the Bible at least a little bit knows that's probably, I would say, maybe the most popular children's Bible story there is. And so I just thought I'd bring up a couple of things in the story that maybe you didn't know about. The first one, you've got Goliath in verse 16. He's referred to as the Philistine. 1 Samuel 17:16. And the Philistine drew near morning and evening and presented himself 40 days. Did you know that before David slew Goliath, Goliath presented himself morning and evening for 40 days straight before Israel, wanting to know if anyone would fight him? Usually you don't hear that fact in the story. And 40 days is significant. That's the number of probation. When God sent a flood upon the earth in Noah's day, it rained for 40 days and 40 nights. Israel went through 40 years in the wilderness. Jesus was in the wilderness 40 days. Moses was 40 days on Mount Sinai to get the law of God. 40 comes up a lot in the Bible as the number of probation. So it's interesting that the Philistine presented himself 40 days in a row before David stepped up and killed Goliath. And then another fun fact from that story, verse 54. 1 Samuel 17:54. And David took the head of the Philistine and brought it to Jerusalem, but he put his armor in his tent. Did you know that after David killed Goliath, he took the head of Goliath and brought it to Jerusalem and put it on display? I mean, a lot of people don't know that. They usually, kind of a gross detail people don't tell their kids. But it's there. It's in the Bible. And then another fun fact, if you go to 2 Samuel 11, this is the story of Bathsheba when David committed adultery with Bathsheba. Did you know, verse 3, David sent and inquired after the woman, and one said, Is not this Bathsheba, the daughter of Eliam, the wife of Uriah the Hittite? And David sent messengers and took her, and she came in unto him, and he lay with her, for she was purified from her uncleanness, and she returned unto her house. Did you know that David and Bathsheba followed the religion, the Jewish religion? I mean, God says there was a time of uncleanness, the period that the woman had every month, but did you know that they made sure they followed that? It was sort of like it sanctified the adultery. Like it was okay because they're following God's law because she's purified from her uncleanness. I mean, of course it wasn't okay, but it's just shows you how religion is. You know, you put up your, I'm obeying God because I did this, so it's okay. You justify your sin with religion. Okay, our question. Last time I asked the question, where does the phrase, a little birdie told me, come from? And it's in the book of Ecclesiastes. The reference is found in Ecclesiastes 10. Ecclesiastes 10, verse 20. Ecclesiastes 10:20. Curse not the king, no, not in thy thought, and curse not the rich in thy bedchamber, for a bird of the air shall carry the voice, and that which hath wings shall tell the matter. So, Ecclesiastes 10:20 is where the phrase, a little birdie told me, comes from. Question for this time. Who danced before the Lord with all his might? And give me a scripture for that reference. 2 Samuel is the book you'll find that in. So, a verse in 2 Samuel, give me that verse and tell me who danced before the Lord with all his might. Okay, thanks for watching.